Welcome back from Florida, asshole. Didn't miss you at all.
Did you go to Florida?
Didn't miss you in the slightest. Been sitting
Bobby's
on
not
sitting
talking
on
to the
2
viewers
weeks,
at this point.
two fucking weeks worth of anger just to get out, and I am ready. This is
we've still been chatting
no
on a daily basis while I was gone.
No,
the productivity of your text messages has gone way down.
Yeah, you're just fucking bath salts, all that shit down there in Florida.
Look, hey, I was eating gator meat. I was getting up to all sorts of no good
Johnny,
stuff.
Important question for you. How many episodes of Mobile Suit Gundam did you watch while you were on vacation?
Fucking zero.
None.
You failed!
Always.
I didn't watch any Gundam. I didn't watch any Evangelion.
You don't even know what those shows are anymore.
Guess who watched all Cowboy Bebop while you were gone?
Not you.
Not Bobby. Bullshit. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Name 2 characters on that show.
Welcome to the Casual Hour podcast, ostensibly about video games.
Name 2 characters on that
mostly
show.
Mostly about picking on Johnny. I'm your host, the anime enthusiast, the tactic video game chaser, the mech tolerator. Yeah.
Tolerator?
Mech curious.
Mech curious is what they call me.
Oh.
I'm mech furious with Johnny, though. Johnny, for 2 weeks, we had peace and unity here at this show.
Well,
I don't know.
I wouldn't go that far.
I listened to the deep dive, and I've listened to part of last week's episode, and I don't know if those claims are true or not.
Yeah. What do you know?
We had fun. We did have fun.
I listened to that deep dive while I was on the subway system, or the sadness tunnels, as you called them,
Depression tunnels.
Depression tunnels, sorry.
Yeah, you're and a fleshy subway.
Yeah, so I went to New York for a week for work. Helped them reopen their office, and then I flew home on a Saturday. I got home around 5, and then the next morning we began a drive to Florida for vacation. So I am still kind of tired from all that. We just got back on Monday. Yesterday I took an extra day off work just to, we got laundry to do, got to take the rental car back. I took a nap for at least an hour.
Wait, you didn't drive your fucking Honda?
No, dude. Both of our cars have far too many miles to risk taking on a trip that long. I took a nap, and then I was asleep by like 11 o'clock last night because I was just it was like all of that just caught up with me, and
I need a fucking vacation just listening to you.
I did play some video games. I played a good deal of one video game while I was gone.
Congratulations! Now you know what it feels like to put in work.
He didn't finish the game. He just put it in.
God, no.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny, we did miss you. We're happy that you got to go and experience some nice slices.
The magic of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Our nation's greatest state. God, Florida fucking sucks. Why would anyone?
Why did you ever want to live there? Like, you literally,
because we have friends that moved there.
You got friends here.
Look, I'm sure there's some very nice parts of Florida, but when you get to Florida, it's exactly what you expect it to be. It's humid. It's full of swamp people, and Trump signs, and we saw a lot of that because we drove to a lot of the south.
Sounds like you went a little bit further west in Missouri. What it sounds like.
As a person who spent a good number of Christmases growing up in Florida, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I have fond memories of that place.
We had a great time. I would not want to live there.
No, Johnny.
We went to the beach. That was nice. So I got to hang out with a dolphin at Discovery Cove, and actually swim. The dolphin pulled me for 20. It was such a tourist thing, man. It was the most middle class fancy thing I've ever done in my life.
Damn, even people in Florida were pulling your weight. Fuck.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yep. Thanks, Bob.
Animals.
Yep. Uh,
Well,
but now I'm back.
You're back.
I'm ready to talk about video games. I'm ready to discuss the news.
Too bad. The video games are over.
Yeah.
You just
missed them. They were here. Okay. They're gone now. Let's set it up here. So we are the Casual Hour. We do a lot of things around video games. Tonight's episode is a What You've Been Playing, which is just us telling you about the games that have been keeping us occupied. And then we've got some news, and tonight's news is going to be a little dated at times. I'm going to go ahead and put that out there now. We've been sitting on some news, wanting to talk about some news, wanted to talk about it with Johnny, and really, the news is his job.
It's no longer,
I mean, Johnny's the one who does the news, so when he wasn't here for 2 weeks, the news stopped.
It's no longer hot and ready. It's in the day old. But you know what?
He didn't even have an out of office notice for the news. He just fucking gone.
Yeah. Peace.
There's some good stories that we should talk about that we haven't discussed on the show before, and I think will make for some good discussion.
Totally. So, with all that being said, Johnny, all joking aside, welcome back. Thank you to our guest, G-san, that stopped by. We had Hybrid Glass and Dirty Smurf, otherwise known as Matt, Eric, and Ryan. No. Sorry. Matt, Eric, and John. My mistake.
Another John.
Yeah, we were really testing the waters. Trust me. But yeah, thank you to everybody who stopped by and helped us with the show. And tonight, though, we got to get caught up in some shit, just the three of us. And Chase, why don't you kick it off? Because there's some doozies here that you've got written down.
I mean, I think it's been a pretty light week for me. I mean, I certainly played more Monster Hunter Stories 2. Same. But I'll leave that for other people to discuss. I didn't put as much time in as I'd like to, but I'm going to play a lot more of that over the weekend. What I did play, though, were a couple of smaller games that got updates recently. One of them is a game called Mini Motorways, which is a game I loved. Came out a couple of years ago, I believe, on Apple Arcade.
Yep.
And was the only game I cared about on Apple Arcade. And some might say, still the only game I care about on Apple Arcade.
Good.
Which, I mean, Fantasian, I still want to put in more time into. There's some other games. I have not actually put any time into Clap Hands, although seeing some of the things you've sent me, I like Clap Hands. Without even playing it, I like Clap Hands. But yeah, Mini Motorways was a game I really, really enjoyed. And it's made by the developers of Mini Metro, Dinosaur Polo Club. And while I really enjoyed it, it was hard to justify paying $5 a month just to play Mini Motorways. I really wish I could have just given them $5, $10 and gotten the game. Well, now I can, because the game just came out on Steam. For $10, I believe right now it's actually 10% off, so you can get it for $9. And you can buy that version and own that version, and it plays great. It's Mini Motorways, except they also released an update with the Steam version that is also on the Apple Arcade version as well, and that is the round trip update. It's not really DLC. It just comes in the game now. Just an update there that adds in roundabouts, which was a much requested feature from players. And
they're pretty slick.
And now you can throw one down and cars go around it, and
we had a
more efficient. It's a good way of driving.
For anybody who's curious about that version that Chase is talking about, tomorrow. Well, if you're listening to this, head over to YouTube. But if you're watching us, tomorrow we'll have posted on our YouTube channel a quick look for that update and the Steam version that Chase was kind enough to walk me through today, which was really cool.
Yeah, Bobby, it's up now. You just put it up.
I know.
Like it's
know.
There. People can just watch.
I was gonna say I saw that earlier tonight.
Like I was wondering, where's the tweet about it that I can retweet? And he just
I'll tweet it out in the morning. I'm doing a little test tonight. I wanted to see something.
Okay. Well, yeah. So to take a step back here, if somebody has not played Mini Metro or Mini Motorways before, either of those games, then I should probably explain a little bit about what's going on here. This is a city builder, kind of. It's got some random elements. It's got some procedural elements where the game will populate houses and what I call malls. Some people call them supermarkets. Just some kind of commercial building, and then you have these residential buildings. And what you're doing in the game is just building the roads, building the motorways to connect those houses to the commercial buildings, the malls, to allow them to pick up whatever stuff. The malls will have little pins that show up to say, "Hey, somebody needs to come here and pick this shit up." And when the correct house is connected to that mall, a car will show up from one of those houses to go pick that stuff up and then bring it back to make that little round trip. They complicate things a little bit more with different colors. Gold houses need to go to gold malls. Purple houses need to go to purple malls, etc., etc. And then you also get a couple of power-ups, I suppose, or just some resources that you can use to navigate different parts of the map. So some places, some of the cities that you can choose have very prominent rivers or bays, and you need to have bridge tiles, which are a resource that a limited resource you have, to build a bridge to go over that body of water so you can connect
Troubled
your
water?
houses. Sure.
What's today?
Sure. I suppose so. And then other resources that you can get are the new roundabouts, like I mentioned. There are traffic lights, which you can place at intersections, and they work like traffic lights do. Honestly, still think they're kind of useless.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
then
I never ever use the traffic lights.
They really just seem to slow things down, more or less, and depending on the way you play, and I feel like the most efficient way to play is to try to segregate the houses, the different kinds of colors as much as possible and not have any cross traffic of different colors going through, which sounds pretty racist when you say it like that, but it is the most
Are you
efficient
saying
way to
these
play
cars
that
are
game.
separate but equal, Chase? Is that what you're saying?
I would not even say they're equal.
Okay.
They are separate. You know, it was like a 3/5 compromise of how the cars go. Sorry. Anyway,
that is a deep cut of American history there for you.
Well, we live in Missouri, so that's it's something you learn about.
We live in misery, is where we live.
That's also true. You can say it both ways.
You know what? Misery loves company, so
we do.
Here we are.
Do. But Three's company.
Three's a crowd.
Please, let's move on from this bit. Let's go.
Yes. Anyway, the last thing you can get are motorways, the titular motorways, and those allow you to kind of build a highway that can go directly from a road to another road. Mm-hmm. Allows you to just bypass a bunch of stuff where you don't have to make a bunch of cross traffic. You can just make very direct lines to different things. All of those things in conjunction give you different things that you can place on the map to try to connect those houses to those malls, and you just go until you're done. The game will continue to randomly pop up new malls, new houses, and it's up to you to connect those in specific ways to get them to their destination. And when a mall has too many pins and you don't get enough cars to it, that is the lose function. And that's how you figure out how you did. It's a score-based game, depending on the number of pins, the number of trips that have taken place. That's your score there, and it's just a really nice, relaxing game to play at the beginning, and really chill. It's got very nice ambient music, really great art, just gorgeous to look at. And then when you get to the later parts of the game, it is just so hectic as new houses and malls pop up. Malls can even upgrade to bigger malls that get more pins at a faster clip. So you need to find ways to connect more houses to them of the correct color. You'll get houses in spaces that don't feel good. Like, oh, that's not where the white house needs to be. I need red houses to be in this area.
Yeah,
so
it's like the game is intentionally fucking with you.
A little bit, yeah.
Let me ask you something I found myself doing when I was playing this a lot when it first came out, and I come back to it every now and again. I'll get to a point in some games where I will just pause.
Yep.
And clear, not everything, but a lot of stuff, because the way that my roads are laid out no longer makes sense.
Right.
And I'll reroute a bunch of stuff. Do you find yourself doing that as well, or do you just try and keep up with what you already have in place? And
No, I do that all the time. And it was something I did in Mini Metro too, where you could just pause the game and make a bunch of different routes for all your
this is no longer
subways.
working.
Totally, which is totally against real life. You can't just erase a subway. You can't just dig up a subway and put it slightly to the left. And the same for roads. But in this game, you absolutely can. And on PC, you are just well, at least for me playing on a MacBook, you double tap, you right click to delete roads, and you single click, left click to add. And it's just real easy to delete everything you have. And there is a pause function, and there's even a fast forward function in the top right, so you can easily get to the more hectic parts of the map, or just pause things and like you said, Johnny, kind of erase what you have, or just think about it a little bit more of what's efficient where. It's a great game. I loved it when it came out. I still love it now. I don't think the roundabouts do a lot to change the gameplay. It's nice that they're there, but
at all?
They're helpful. Again, like if you're segregating those colors, you don't really need the roundabouts, but they definitely feel more efficient than the traffic lights do. So it's nice to have that as an option for some of those places. But
are you granted a certain amount in the beginning, or is it one of those things where like you reach a certain milestone and you're like, hey, get this many roundabouts or this many?
Yep. Okay. It's just another milestone. It's, hey, do you want 20 road tiles and a roundabout, or do you want 20 road tiles and a bridge or a motorway? Actually, the other big thing that I noticed is they slightly balance the motorways. So if you pick the motorway, you only get 10 road tiles instead of the normal 20 that you get.
Okay.
And there is even an option to just get 30 road tiles. Sometimes that'll pop up too. If you don't need anything and you just want more roads, you can totally do that as well.
That's cool. I gotta check that out. I never deleted it from my phone.
They added another couple of places too. There's Dubai and Mexico City are the new locations that you can build stuff in. I unlike Mini Metro, this game, I don't feel like there's a ton of difference between the different cities that you build in. Mini Metro didn't have a ton of changes either, but there were a couple that were at least interesting.
You have like multiple rivers to worry about and things like that.
Yeah, and like in Tokyo, you could get the Shinkansen bullet trains in there. I can't remember. There was another place that had like gondolas that you would use instead of the subways that functioned slightly differently. They were a little slower, I think, in the way that they worked. But this game doesn't really have that. You'll get a couple places that have slightly different ways that their bodies of water work. So Los Angeles has like one big river running through it, but Del Salam, I can't remember exactly what it's called. That place starts with just a lot of land. So you don't really need to worry about bridges at all for a very long time. You can just build a bunch of roads, knowing that you really just have to deal with a bunch of land.
It's done really, really well. Like I was just blown away again. Like every time I play one of those games, like the precision, like every single pixel on that screen, the way that they do that, the simple adjustments that you see in real time when you're dragging the road, the audio cues when you're doing that, the grid. And when I was editing our quick look today, one of the coolest things about it, and I wish that they would maybe do something with this in the game, was as I was buffering through the video, this slow zoom out was happening of this city building. And I really wish that there was some sort of time lapse or it's just slowly going out to watch it expand, because it was such an awesome thing. Like to even have a GIF made of that or something like that would be really effective, I think. And I was just like buffering back and forth watching that when I was editing today. And holy shit, it was really cool to see.
That would be cool. They do have a screenshot function. When you lose, you can go in and take a screenshot of what your city looked like. And that's nice. And they have a couple of borders and title options that you can add to that. and it goes into your Steam library or it goes into your photo library on iOS or something. But yeah, like having some sort of time lapse GIF feature would be really cool. I would totally dig something like that.
Yep.
It's a great game.
There's a thing on the Steam page that says export GIFs of your city layouts to share with your friends.
Oh yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen that.
I don't know where that is in game, but
yeah, exactly. I haven't seen the UI option for something like that, but something to take a look at. Anyway, it's still a great game, and now it's one less reason I need to have Apple Arcade, and that's okay in my book. One more reason I need to have Apple Arcade, though, so it really canceled out, is that we got new is maybe a strong word.
Yeah.
Expansion?
But a new game called Alto's Odyssey: The Lost City, which there was a game on iOS. What would you say?
2014, 2013, right?
Yeah, Alto's Adventure.
I think it was around that time.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I'll look it up.
It's been a while.
It's a fantastic game. Alto's Adventure. You're snowboarding. It's an endless runner, and you just snowboard and do a bunch of backflips and grinds, and it was really cool. And then they made a sequel, and that was called Alto's Odyssey. And they went away from the snowy mountains, and you were sandboarding, and you'd be going through these dunes. There was the art got even more incredible somehow. They added some wall ride techniques and some other cool options in there to spice up the game. And both of those endless runners were pretty damn perfect, in my opinion. I put so much time into them. And now there is an Apple Arcade exclusive version called Alto's Odyssey: The Lost City, which in my 30 minutes of playing it before this podcast started is just Alto's Odyssey. They didn't change a thing. Okay.
2015, 2018.
So they didn't really change anything out of the core gameplay, at least, that you can tell, especially on the surface when you first start the game. It plays exactly like the original Alto's Odyssey. But from what I've read, the new mechanic is that hidden throughout the levels, as you play these runs, you will find 10 map pieces as you're playing through. And when you collect all 10 of those map pieces, it unlocks the Lost City, which is a new area that might have some new mechanics and new ways of playing that you can go and visit.
I think what's going on there, Chase, is so when Fantasian came out, there was also an announcement, I think either that same day or the following Friday, where Apple was releasing classics on Apple Arcade. So you'll see versions that'll be Dev Story Plus, Monument Valley Plus, and it literally has the plus symbol as an indicator. And from what I've seen, there's not really been enhancements. Like Angry Birds just came out on Apple Arcade. Like all these games from like 2009 and 2010 that were early App Store darlings are now just included in Apple Arcade, which I think for that casual audience. What's up?
Give us Topple.
I know Doodle Jump's in there. I think Doodle God's in there. But what I think's happening here, obviously there was a big update for many Motorways. They came to Steam. They added it. I know earlier this year, Snowman, I think, is who makes the Altos games. They brought the dual pack to the Switch, which had both games in it. And I'm curious if that mechanic, that Lost City, is in that version.
Not sure. I think this is new.
Okay.
What just came out, and it just came out yesterday. I believe it is the Lost City part is actually new and separate from the rest of these things.
I'm just curious if they wanted to do something besides call it like Alto's Odyssey Plus or something to that degree.
Maybe it just makes sense. Hey, we've had some time to put some extra thought into this game. Let's throw a little something extra when it's on Apple Arcade. Give it something exclusive. Some of those other games you mentioned, like something like Angry Birds, that game does have at least the regular version does have in-app purchases in it, right?
I don't think the first one did.
Did it? Okay. So, but the whole point of Apple Arcade is that you can't have in-app purchases.
Correct.
So some of those Plus games might strip some of that stuff out or find a different way of implementing it into like some in-game currency. to be able to get it on Apple Arcade. But it makes sense. It's an alternative revenue stream for some of those developers. Yeah. Hey, this is a way to inject a little bit of new life and get a quote unquote new release of your game out there, even if it's just the same thing, but you're introducing it to a new audience. And maybe they wouldn't pay the $2 or $3 for your video game, but they would pay the $5 for the Apple Arcade subscription, and we can kick you back a little bit of money. Yeah. So it does bring some new life to those. I get it. And it's nice that this game is doing something new, but it's certainly tough to find when you load it up and go, oh, I was like level 500 or whatever in Alto's Odyssey, and now you're telling me to start at level 1, but it's kind of the same game. I don't know. I mean, it's still one of the best iOS games I've ever played.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So you should play it. If you've never played Alto's Odyssey before, absolutely just download the Lost City and start going in, because it's incredible. But if you are a seasoned Alto's Odyssey player like I am, I don't think this version. I need to try the Lost City stuff. Maybe it'll blow my socks off and it'll be the ultimate version that I have to have. But for now, I'm pretty happy with the version that I got.
I love that game. I will download that update that you're talking about and check that out here soon. So Chase, you talked about a few things tonight. You talked about the mini Motorways update. You have been still playing Monster Hunter Stories 2. We'll chime in later on with Johnny. And then you talked about the updates to Alto's Odyssey, the Lost City update. Very cool.
That I did.
So anything else you wanted to share before we bounce around a little bit here?
Pierce Corshane sucks. That's all I know.
Hey, I thought he was one of our only friends of the show.
He is one of our only friends, but Johnny is also one of our only friends, and we don't like him either. So,
Pierce, if you're coming for the Pokemon Unite talk, you're going to have to wait maybe like 15, 20 minutes. Why
don't we start it now? Like he's here. We haven't talked to Johnny in a while.
People what they want.
What Johnny's been playing. Is that okay, Bobby? If we upset the rules and we let Johnny go before
you are the one who gets bent out of shape when the orders get changed up here. You refuse to go behind Johnny, but it's so easy for me to get moved around. So hey, I'm just the host of the show. What the fuck do I know?
Damn.
This ain't Gamers on the Go, Chase. But if you want to switch some things up, we can.
Damn.
Go ahead, Johnny. Let's just bore us all with your fucking antics.
So while I was gone on vacation, when I was traveling, I had my Switch with me. Obviously, I had my phone. I did play Bobby a decent amount of Clap Hands Golf while I was flying. That game is real good. I didn't get Don Papa's.
Then you haven't played.
Then you haven't played Clap Hands Golf. Come back when you have.
I know. So I wasn't going to talk at length about that, but I did play some of that game.
Don't even bring it up. Fucking clickbait. Jesus Christ.
The game that I put the most amount of time into, that we were all really excited about.
You're supposed to be talking about Pokemon Unite. Did you miss the memo?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so
Pierce is waiting on you.
Pokemon Unite is a Pokemon MOBA, as they call it, and it just came out today, I believe.
Stateside.
It's been out on iOS for a while, right? But today's the first day it came out.
I thought it was coming out on Switch first, then mobile later.
I don't think it's been on iOS.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's been.
It's one of those things where like New Zealand gets it, and then
the rest of the world does.
Anyway, it came out today in the States on the Switch. I downloaded it 2 hours ago. On my Switch, I played through the tutorial. Now, as far as my experience with MOBAs is concerned, I played exactly one round of Dota 2.
So you're an expert.
And promptly uninstalled it because I told my team, I was like, hey, it's only fair for me to tell these people, hey, this is my first time playing this game. And they were not welcoming. And they did not really help me. So it's like, okay, well, this clearly, I've arrived too late for this. The ship has sailed.
This is free, right? And just to be clear, this is on.
It's a free to play game.
It's on Switch right now, coming to mobile later.
I'll
look it up.
Yeah, look it up. That's in my brain. That's what I thought the deal was. It was coming here
Johnny,
first.
to back up a little bit, like I think you and I had this conversation on the show at some point that
probably like
MOBAs just weren't for us.
We don't play MOBAs.
We don't play MOBAs. That's not our genre.
Yeah.
But if we were to play a MOBA, like what would it take for us to get into MOBAs?
Oh,
and
here's Charizard. Here's Snorlax.
Yeah. And it was like, what if they made a Pokemon MOBA? Like, yeah, okay, sure. They'll never do that. It's fucking Nintendo, right? And then Nintendo's like, no, we totally could.
It's on Switch right now, coming to mobile later.
Okay. Yeah, we've made every other type of game you can with Pokemon in it. So I guess there's a Pokemon fighting game for God's sake. So
True. I hear it's
here
good.
Here we go. And this is so the MOBA I played the most. There was one that came out on iOS several years ago at this point. Bobby, do you remember what that one was called?
No, because
it was featured at WWDC.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. I did download it just because it had like the best graphics at the time when whatever chip came from Apple.
Yeah, I played a decent amount of that game and it was fine. But this has Pokemon in it, so already, there's already a thing in it that I love, even if the genre of game isn't necessarily my favorite. But it is a MOBA-ass MOBA. There are lanes. There are.
Can you gank?
I don't know what gank means. What does gank mean?
I believe it is to kill other players, but like to do it kind of stealthily, like you come in behind them.
Oh, okay. I did that with my Charizard. So yeah, you start. I've heard the term jungle. There are different classes.
How fast did you Roche?
It's so fast.
Oh God!
It was the fastest Roche.
Oh God!
I needed a Roche clip.
Vainglory is what you played, Johnny.
I don't know why I know all of these fucking.
I picked a lot of them up through osmosis, listening to
Ben,
like Brad and Ben from Giant Bomb talk about it at length. Anyway, so when you start it up, it takes you through a tutorial. It's like, hey, this is how you attack. These are your this is the basic attack. These are your two that are on cooldowns. And oh hey, you leveled up, so now you get two new moves to choose from that will then be assigned to ZR ZR and then L and then R. Then you have a special move that gets charged up, and you can use that. At like this. There's like some depth to it for sure. Like, you don't want to just burn that on these ads that you're killing to get points to try and dunk in the other team's goal, basically. And so once you get through that, you play as a Pikachu, and then they have you play as a Charizard. So you play the tutorial, and then you play an actual match against CPU players. And they have you play as a Charizard to start with. You start out as a Charmander, then you evolve to Charmeleon, and then a Charizard. The matches.
If you get that option to play against CPU players if you want to, could you just play a bot match?
You can practice whenever you want.
Can you practice offline?
I think yeah. As far as I know, as soon as you get through
the airplane. No, you weren't in the airplane when this came out. Never mind.
I wasn't. This is just earlier tonight.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's because as soon as you complete that, it's like, hey, you're ready to go. But anytime you want to practice, you can always come back here and do that.
The idea of playing a MOBA single player actually sounds kind of nice.
More appealing.
Like without all the toxic multiplayer bullshit, I might be into that.
Johnny, is there anything with the combat that is representative of like what Pokemon proper would be? So certain move types will be effective against other Pokemon types.
Yeah. So at the end of it, you get to pick a Pokemon to unlock and have in your roster.
Okay.
And it was like Snorlax, Charizard, not Apom. There's like 6 different ones you can pick from, and they even tell you like the difficulty. Like they were all Novice, but then you had ranged, you had defender. That was Snorlax. Snorlax was a defender. It tells you the moves that they all have, and then the moves that they get later on in the match. I went with Charizard just because I really enjoyed playing with him in the practice match. And there's being a free to play game, there are two currencies. There's one that you earn by playing the game, and then there's the premium currency that you can spend money on.
How many Pokemon are supposed to be in this one? Did they say?
They may have.
Well, you mentioned Apom. Was there obviously more than Gen 1?
Yeah, there was Greninja. There was
makes sense.
They're
gonna have a field day with those fucking in-app purchases.
The rabbit from Sword and Shield. I can't think of its name right now.
Say it again.
The rabbit from Sword and Shield.
Score Bunny. Yeah.
Score Bunny. Yeah. So they have that one. It seems like a pretty decent, broad selection of Pokemon to choose from. You can find one that you like. There's Mr. Mime.
Great.
And
so
exactly.
From the chat here, there's 20 Pokemon, and with that 20, they said Mr. Mime is one that we have to have.
Yep.
One of the 20 best Pokemon ever made.
Exactly.
What would you do if Mr. Mime was in your lane?
I would leave.
Run away.
I'd get the fuck out of that lane.
No, thank you. It's once you get through the tutorial, then you can jump right into a match. It's the first day this came out, so obviously there's a lot of people playing it right now. I got into a match like that, it's just a few seconds. I played as my Charizard, and I fucking wrecked the other team. I was the top of my team's leaderboard and just the game's leaderboard.
I don't want to take away your accomplishment, but Pokemon is still kind of regarded as a kid's game. I wonder if you were just playing
destroyed those
Billy
children.
Mitchell of Pokemon MOBA over there. Did you put USA after you won? This is your initials in that?
I mean, if it lets you chat.
Johnny went to fucking Kohl's and got a American flag tie just to play this game.
It was
Jude
so
a lesson.
great.
He's out in the garage sweating. Jude comes out there. Don't talk to me. I'm gonna be number one.
Yeah.
Hot Sauce Empire.
Yeah. By the end of it, I think I got KO'd once. So it's not like I think Dota. If you get knocked out, you're done for the round. It's a cooldown. Okay, so yeah, if you get knocked out, there's a cool any orbs that you were carrying that you're trying to put into the other team's goal get knocked out from you.
So that's a little different. Yeah, in Dota, you are defending the ancient. That's the acronym right there.
Okay.
So in this one, it's kind of actually more like a game like Pyre, where you're trying to score baskets.
Yeah, you score, and then there's at the end of the course, there's the big goal that you're trying to get to.
Got it.
And yeah, there's other Pokemon on the map that are not controlled by anybody that you kill or knock out, and you gain these orbs, and you dump those orbs into the other person's net. When you come back to your goal, it heals you, and your movement speed is increased. When you try and go past the point of the current goal that you're trying to knock out, your speed is slowed way down, so that you can't just chase someone if they try and get away from you. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I had more fun than I was expecting to have with it, probably because I was just laying waste to these these poor kids on the other end. Charizard had some really good ranged and also close-up attacks that he does.
Nice.
I'll be real interested to hear what the MOBA, the hardcore MOBA community,
people who actually play these games.
Yeah,
Johnny's giving the hottest take fucking on the internet right now.
And no one more hardcore into MOBAs than Johnny Amazon.
That's right.
But yeah, I would like to see what Dota players think about something like this, or League players, and
I think it's neat. It's I when it comes on iOS, I'll play it there. I hope they let you link your Nintendo account to it it'd
be silly if they didn't.
Johnny, one last question for you about the monetization. What are you buying? So in Dota, you're buying skins for things, but for Pokemon,
you can get cosmetics. You can buy new Pokemon.
Like Charizard with a hat instead of
maybe. Honestly, I just wanted to get in and play the game, so I didn't spend too much time looking at the shop menu. But you can so there's the premium currency I mentioned. There's also the one that you earn. And obviously, it takes a lot more of the stuff you earn in game to buy more Pokemon. for you to be able to use in these matches than it would be if you're like, hey, just give us $10 and you get all these
now
Aeon
if
gems.
they give us the option where it's like, hey, give us $10 and you can get the Mega Charizard X skin for Charizard.
Relevant.
I might go like, oh, okay.
Now we're talking.
I doubt they'll do that. I bet it will just be Charizard wearing a hat or like wearing a T-shirt or something like that. But
yeah,
Pearson Chat said that he would be down to check this out with all of us for science purposes, of course.
All right.
I think that somebody maybe could we coordinate a quick look.
Quick look, sure. Maybe that's a Friday stream at some point. Not this Friday, but maybe another Friday. I could do that.
Yeah. I will play more of this. I enjoyed it enough. It's easy enough to jump in, jump out of the matches.
It's hard to turn your nose up at it.
Each round lasts 10 minutes. I think.
Got you for 10 minutes.
For 10 minutes. I think it's compelling and engaging enough that it's definitely at least worth the download, checking it out because it's free.
Yeah.
Whether or not you decide to give them any of your actual dollars, that's on you.
Johnny, we've talked a lot over the last few weeks about the darling Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin. I'd love to get your take on this game because we haven't had a chance to talk with you. Chase and I have talked multiple. Well, I think
I want to know where you are, Johnny.
Yeah.
I am in the Ruto Village. It's the second village you get to in the game.
Wait, hang on a second. Yeah, you haven't played any of this fucking game. I've been playing a lot of this.
All I heard was Johnny go like, "Oh, I put a lot of time into Monster Hunter Stories 2, and now I'm here."
No, not a lot of time. I said I put more time in it than anything else I played. I'm like 12 hours in, I think.
You coughed on the controller and you went, I played a lot.
Fuck you guys.
Okay, it's fine. I just now have to change the way I'm going to talk about this game.
I think considering being on vacation, I
get it.
Busy I've been.
I understand.
typically play my Switch more on vacation.
I was playing, 30 minutes to an hour a night.
And you're only in the second village? What the fuck are you doing?
I've been running around.
Did you play the demo?
Fun. Yeah, but I didn't get to the end of the demo. So that was the first thing I did I was on the mission to go get the Rathalos egg. So I did that. I got to the village.
This is just
the thing I'm doing now. There's children that got lost in the forest. This is the question.
No, we know.
Yeah,
we're very familiar with this part of the game.
I'm sitting at 40 hours myself.
Okay.
Oh, have you been timing it?
I saw in the bottom corner on one of my recent
saves.
You
in your
save. The game does have because every time I save, it's just saving on the actual save file. It just shows the time that you saved.
Look in the bottom right corner. You see the little clock, and I'll tell you.
Now I'm scared.
Timestamp.
It's going to be like a Destiny number.
Yeah, obviously I am lagging way behind you guys on this, which is not unusual under any circumstances.
Yeah, I think at this point, Bobby and I are both around the same spot where we've left the 4th hub area.
I'm flying.
Okay. Have you gotten to the 5th?
I'm flying.
Oh, you're flying now? Okay, so you're further than I am. But I'm on the road. I'm chasing a sand ship.
You're close to me.
Sounds
far
okay.
But to answer your question before you derided me for not playing as much of this as
You've done that yourself.
I'm enjoying it very much. I think it's a really good game. I don't know
is it the best Monster
more
Hunter
than
game
Monster Hunter Rise.
No, it's the best Monster Hunter game you ever played.
I think that I like Rise and World more, but this is a very good video game.
It's a safe space, Johnny. You can say that you like Monster Hunter Stories too.
I like it. I like it a whole lot, but I think that I like Rise more. It's been my
I feel like Game of the Year is going to not go in your favor.
That's fine. It's still a Monster Hunter game. It's still really good.
So I'm really digging what's happening with stories, and I like where the characters are developing in this. My party's at an interesting place right now. Does
Naviru get any more tolerable?
He's fine. Bobby put an interesting poll in our group chat where he just put out 3 names. He put out Navaru, the feline from Monster Hunter Stories 2. Put out Paimon from Genshin Impact, and the last one was Morgana from Persona 5.
Yeah.
And while Johnny and I did not bite on the fuck, marry, kill that he threw out there, not going to touch that. I will say there was an interesting thought of which one of those 3 sucks the least.
Yeah,
and it's a tough call.
It's tough.
Yeah.
There's some things that happen in the story.
I think Naviru's he's fine.
Out of those 3, Naviru's probably the most tolerable.
I mean, I don't go to Monster Hunter, even though it says Monster Hunter Stories. I do not go to these games for the story. It is the gameplay and everything that I'm doing outside of the fine writing that they have.
I do wonder. So, not remembering before. Were these cats always called felines, but just the ones that are your partners are the ones that are called palicos?
Well, they reference palicos in the game.
Yeah, but I thought it was more like, I can't tell. Are these like 2 distinct cat races?
Well, Naviru looks. No, I shouldn't say that. There's another cat that you'll meet in the game. That
ninja stealthy one, the one that's the amiibo.
Well, sorry. There's another one.
Or the one you meet in the cave that just shows up. What's up with that?
Which one?
Oh, the pits? You mean?
Yeah, there's one that's like you're going in there to fight a monster, and this feetless cat is just walking around. Like,
Naviru and I can't think of her name. She's got the moon. There's another cat named Sarge that you're going to meet, and they all have the distinct kind of rounder face, where the palicos are a bit more svelte and stretched out a bit. They seem different. They seem like different animals completely, but there's interesting things going on with that race that you'll see later in the game. I don't know. Like it's weird too because they added Palamutes into the game also as an update that came out. So I don't know. I'm at a point now with the game where I'm really trying to not necessarily like min-max, but I'm looking at like how am I sharing traits between my monsties and how am I getting variations of some of my favorite ones. And I feel like I've got my team pretty shaped out where I want it to be right now. And anytime I come across a new monster, it's really challenging for me to decide who has to go because I really like the ones I have out there.
Wow.
And it's a real motherfucker having to decide on that.
And while I do appreciate that the game, and this was like it was in the first game as well, monsters have specific tendencies. So if you run into a Tigrex, it's always going to be a speed-oriented monster.
Yep.
But there's a part of me that really wishes that I could change the tendencies of certain monsters so I could
like the
have them
overworld
in
stuff?
my party. No, just so I could like I want to make this maybe I want a Tigrex in my party, but I've already got a couple of speed ones that I know that I like and know that I want. Is there a way I could turn this one into a technical? And that's the answer. The answer is to get the variations because they'll be slightly different. And I do have a brute Tigrex, whichever, in my party, and he is power based. So you can kind of sneak around and get to some of those. But there's a part of me that says, I would just wish Nargacuga was a technical monster instead of a speed monster.
So the green Nargacuga I thought for sure would be. It's the exact same.
Sometimes they are. It's weird. I think with something like Nargacuga, that monster is just known for its speed. So it can't be anything but speed.
Such a good monster.
Look at how speedy it is. It's very good. Very good.
Johnny, just a heads up, you will be able to get eventually a 6th monster into your party.
I assume that. I assumed it was reserved for the Rathalos.
It is, and it'll be a power spot. So as you're looking at your team, like I don't know how you want to balance it out, but Chase and I think are pretty similar where it's 2, 2, and 2. And so just if you are
And that was kind of the way it was in the first game too. I think you actually could switch out. You didn't have. You might not have had to have your Rathalos in your party, but it definitely was a power one. But in that game, because the story reason wasn't that all the Rathalos have gone crazy, you could actually catch other Rathalos. And so you could have 2 Rathalos in your party if you wanted to. And I imagine this game is eventually going to get to that point. But it was, it's real interesting to pick the different monsters for your team.
I like it a whole lot.
Johnny, what's your favorite monster that you got that you're rocking right now?
Man, I just got 2. God, fuck, I can't remember the names. There's the rock lizard guy,
Arios.
Yeah,
I can't remember. He looks like a pile of boulders, basically. Yep. I just got one of him. I got a really rare version of him last night. And the fuck, I wish I had my Switch with me because I just
tell me what you know about him. I can come up with the names.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It was really late,
gotcha.
And I don't remember.
What color was it?
I don't remember because I hatched like 6 last night.
I mean, it's probably somewhere at the village.
It's a Royal Ludroth is going to be my guess.
Does it have corn pops for
I have one of those. I have one of those already. No,
okay, so that's not one of your favorites. Okay, is it a Rathian?
The Royal Ludroth is in my party.
Yeah,
I have a blue Kiet Yaku.
Kuliyaku.
With the big the big underbite. I've got Puke Puke that has been the star of the show for a little while, but I think he's going to get overthrown.
Yeah.
And then I just swapped out 2 of my other ones for these 2 new monsters I hatched last night, and I only remember the rock guy.
You do eventually get to a spot where you can do the kind of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood thing and just send monsties out on an assignment where they can pick up items and gain experience. And now I have a real problem in that, and it's on like a timer cooldown. I have a real problem that those monsters that I've sent out are just so much stronger than the monsters in my party. Like, man, I should just switch and use these guys instead. But they're not my favorite guys. But also, these guys are just stone cold fucking killers at this point. God,
oh yeah,
game's good.
Game's really good. Johnny, anything else you've been playing before we move on?
No, I was going to play Death's Door last night, but I fell asleep, so I did not.
Well, I will tell you all about it here in a minute. But before I do that, I have been playing a game that I didn't expect, but I'm happy I'm playing it.
I think it's the only game that could overtake Monster Hunter Stories 2 for Game of the Year at this point.
I mean,
which is only half joking. I think this game is actually, honestly, super fucking good.
Yeah, it's really good. We're talking about that amazing PowerWash Simulator that came out. Early access on Steam, $20. It is exactly what you think it would be. Johnny messaged me, hey, do I need to get this game? And I just asked him, which he never responded, do you like the PowerWash things? And the answer is yes. It has to be yes, because I don't know a single person who doesn't. The game does a really fantastic job of capturing the essence of power washing, the satisfaction of power washing.
Listen to what you just said.
No, he's right, though. And what he said is the truth. This man is speaking the gospel.
Okay, to belatedly answer your question, yes, I do enjoy power washing.
Perfect.
When I worked construction, I got to use like an industrial grade power washer.
Hell yeah!
That was an actual like truck that was with it because it was used for excavating. Mm-hmm. So I had this power washer. I had to wear a whole kit. Like I had a face shield. I had like rubber stuff I had to wear because it was so like it could like break your toe basically.
Yeah.
if
insert Tim Allen grunts here.
Yeah, and I would like dig holes with this, and it was it was so satisfying.
This game has a few things that I think are really clever. It does have a career mode that you are taking on jobs via your tablet. And when you go to these jobs, you're going to be able to mouse over the environment and find out what materials you have to clean. You have a storefront that you can go and shop at. There's a full line of upgrades for your gear, down to the nozzles, to the extensions, to the actual gun itself. You can buy solutions or cleaners that will go in for wood or plastic or metal, and all of those, your nozzles, your gun, and your chemicals are all on a radial menu. So you hold down 1, 2, or 3 and pull that up, and it's really slick how they've done it. But the different sounds that they've got based off of the type of pressure that you're applying to them, because there's no soundtrack to the game.
And the material that you're hitting too.
It all comes together, and you literally feel like you're just out in the backyard wearing some old New Balances, just beating the hell out of these sheds and pools.
Yeah.
There's even dumb stuff.
My favorite part.
Oh, go ahead.
We recorded a quick look at this, so that's up there now if people want to see this in action. But my favorite part is that when you power wash something, it starts. You have like the real dark grime. Yep. That's on there to start with. You hit it with the power washer, and you can tell that it's a different shade. That grime is gone, but it's still dark because it's wet. Yep. And then you start to see it lighten, and you can tell where like you've hit it with the water, and it just it simulates. So here's the deal. It simulates the idea of power washing.
Yeah.
If we
which I know is a
category for like best
quite a bit of gameplay of this.
It's so fucking good. It's like, so good.
That
I hate simulator games. Like the parody-ish ones, the real ones. Do what?
The Ice Road Truckers or whatever you all played?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm speaking more specifically to the games that have simulator in the title.
Yeah,
whether it's real or
Goat Simulator.
Basically. Yeah, like in the parody ones like Goat Simulator, not really for me. But when you get to like the Farming Simulator or Forklift Simulator or all these random different simulator games that are just littering Steam,
there's a
most of those games are just like a bunch of mechanics I do not give a shit about. But Power Washing Simulator, holy shit, this game is great.
It's really good. So much so that we're going to play it tomorrow night on stream, or Friday night on stream, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. I know Chase will be out of town. Johnny, I don't know where you're at with things, but we will be cleaning on Friday, and that quick look is up.
It actually reminds me a lot of Hard Space Shipbreaker.
Mm-hmm.
Just in that you're kind of breaking things down into small tasks.
Yep.
In that game, at least watching Bobby play it, because I haven't played either of those games, but watching Bobby play both of them, like Hard Space Shipbreaker is all about taking this one little area and going, okay, I'm just going to take off this door and doing it in a way that just feels very satisfying. Absolutely. And it's the exact same thing here, where I'm just going to work on this shed. And even when you're working on this shed, I want to get the windows right on this shed. You change it to your glass solution. You change your nozzle to be like a little wider, a little softer. And you're just really taking care of that window. And the way that it blinks when it's finished to just tell you, like, hey, buddy, you did a great job. So good. They thought of everything.
So yeah, Power Wash Simulator on Steam, $20. Pick it up. Very, very good time. Perfect game to play alongside a podcast. All right, Johnny, you mentioned Death's Door. This was a game that I saw, or we all saw, shown, I think, either Keeley's event or definitely the Devolver piece at E3. But this is the latest release from Devolver, and it is...
Is it?
It's published by them. The studio is the same studio, I believe, that made Titan Souls.
It just came out today.
I just meant like Boomerang X also just released.
Acid Nerve.
That's a
is the studio.
I think Death's Door has a lot of potential. I'm going to be giving a very hot take on this game, and the one I'll talk about next after it. Another hot take. Probably got anywhere from like a half hour to an hour in both of these games. I was playing them around quick looks and recording and editing today.
What are you playing this on?
Playing this on PC. It was on sale on Steam. They had like a pre-launch sale. I think I got it for $15 or $16.
Not on Game Pass?
It is not on Game Pass. I thought this one might be on Game Pass. It is not on Game Pass. There is one.
Because it's only on Microsoft platforms. It's only on PC and Xbox, which kind of sucks for me, who kind of wants to play this game and just doesn't have a way to do it.
It's the other game from Annapurna that just came out today. That's on Game Pass. we talked about that on our preview. I can't remember the name of it right now, but that just dropped today. That one is on Game Pass. I want to check that one out too. Let's talk a little bit about what Death's Door is. So you are a crow that is seemingly death, and you are working for an agency that has a really cool look and aesthetic to it. The game, like when you're there, is black and white. A lot of the environments are going to be a bit more black and white in this game, but there is color that they use in some of them. And you are given a task to go out and collect a soul, and you set out to get this tutorial where you're learning about the mechanics. So there's a roll mechanic and there's a melee mechanic. You can do a charged attack, and you can also do a roll into a heavy attack. I will say that the combat is probably a bit more Souls than what you were expecting, Chase. Just based off. I
mean, these are the makers of Titan Souls, so like I'm used to that.
And I say that as somebody who doesn't play Souls games, but the inspiration from those games is everywhere now, and it is a challenging game. The enemies will all have kind of tells for their moves they're going to throw, especially early on in the game. So you want to make sure that you are keeping an eye on it. You pick up seeds, and these seeds can be planted. And when those seeds are planted, you can harvest one of the flowers, and that will give you your life back. But you go to do this tutorial, and then you find out that you get knocked upside the head by a much larger crow. So you're a fledgling, I believe, is what they call you. And the crow is like, "Hey, I'm deaf. Like, I've been doing this. Like, we got to stop some shit. I need your help with it." And that's when it opens up. You can go east, west, or north, and there's different bosses in those directions. This is where I feel like it brings in some of the Legend of Zelda to it. But the other piece, only maybe like in just the context of like the character design and the tone at times, reminds me of Ori. And it's not a platformer or anything like that, but just the level of design and then the overall feeling you get from the game. So it's kind of like Souls, Zelda, Ori is what I would say my early impression of the game is. It looks like there's going to be significant upgrades that you can get. You have a bow that's really cool. It uses like an electrical charge that creates an arrow. Those deplete, but as you hit enemies, you can refill that gauge. It seems like there's going to be quite a bit of customization or upgrading for your character as you're going off to these other areas. So it's like, hey, go to the north to fight the witch that can defy death. And then they give you some hints on what you should do there. I think it handles and it has such a good feel to it. Like, everything's very snappy. The combat feels really good. I like the soundtrack a whole lot for this game, and I think the style is remarkable. I'm really digging what it's doing. The boss battles I've gotten into, like, as you approach them, they feel pretty like, holy shit, this is going to be punitive, but learning the patterns and just the whole entirety. Like, I fought a fucking castle, like a literal castle, and it was so cool. Like, it had, because you're tiny, and so this castle shows up on the screen. I'm like, fuck, like, already? But it had these gears that would come out, and it was just really, like, the music and everything on that was a very strong early impression. So I feel
last year you fought a house in Final Fantasy VII.
This year I'm finding like
this year you fight a castle. Interesting.
So yeah, Death's Door, published by Devolver. I want to dive in a bit more, but it's getting a lot of praise right now. I've seen some 8s and 9s being tossed around for it, and I can tell you that my early impression is that it's probably warranting a lot of those scores. It's very well done.
Looks very cool.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I can't wait to play it.
I did something stupid. I've done something real dumb here.
You're doing this podcast, so
you're gonna have to be more specific.
I started playing another MMO.
Oh, Bobby, why? Why do you do this?
My defense, I saw screenshots for it years ago. Not years ago, but like a year ago. And I didn't realize it was an MMO. I'm like, oh, that looks really fucking cool. And I threw it on my wish list. And then I found out later on, I'm like, wait a second. People have been playing this game. Like, is it out? I saw that there was an open tech test for it in alpha. And then I saw something else about it. Like, this was a game being developed by Amazon.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what?
Yep.
Okay.
I didn't think they made games.
They try.
This game
just go to space.
This game comes out next month. It's called New World. If you pre-order the game, or if you sign up to be a tech tester, there's a closed beta that's happening right now from July 20th until August 2nd. And I was able to do the pre-order on Amazon just to test out the code for this, to check out and see what it's doing. I really am digging what this game is doing. And it does not feel like the other MMOs that I've played. This feels a lot more like an action RPG than an MMO. And
Bezos got to you.
The overall stylings of the world and the character reminds me of that RPG that came out a couple years ago. Oh my god, it starts with a G. Like people were kind of giving
Greedfall?
Greedfall, yes.
Wow, great pull, Johnny.
So like the way that it works, I think this is pretty damn cool. There's not really a class-based system for this being an MMO, but rather you can upgrade skill sets. Like you can pick up any weapon in the game, and the more you use it, you're gonna unlock class abilities with it. And so each weapon has 3 cooldown slots that you can upgrade and has their own skill trees for it. So you start the game off with a sword and board, and there's some really neat things that you can open up this through XP, but then you can have a secondary weapon. So like the secondary weapon I grabbed was a fire staff, and I was doing this hybrid of playing this more as like a sword and board mixed with some mid-range magic, and I was really digging what that looked like. And the gear that you're getting in the game has a kind of a pilgrim look to it. It's definitely like that of that world. Couple of fetch quests at the beginning that unlocked some new outfits. I got a bow and arrow. There's a really nice crafting system in the game too. Like anytime you go to a campfire, you get a whole bunch of cool shit that you can start to craft out and build. You are collecting a lot of resources from flint, wood, and all that while you're out just to create new things. I think that this game has a lot of potential, and playing it, there was a lot of people on the server that I was on, and I could see some stuff in chat, and the community so far in this closed beta was pretty helpful. Like, hey, if you're getting stuck here, like, this is what you need to look for. Hey, I could use help over here. I got down. Yeah, I'll be right there. Like, I was watching the chat go through. The game's only $40. There is a deluxe edition that's $49. You can pre-order the game right now on Amazon. It takes 48 hours to get your code, up to 48 hours, I should say. If you pre-order on Steam, you get immediate access, because that's what they send you on Amazon. It'll be a Steam key to check this out. And then,
is there no subscription for it?
Not that I've seen so far, but again, I'm just only doing the beta. The full release comes out on August 30th, I think, or August 29th. So we'll probably be talking about that next week.
August 31st.
August 31st.
According to the Steam page.
I'm digging it. I think it's really cool.
Are you going to play another MMO?
Well, it depends, because like again, like this didn't feel like an MMO to me. Like I definitely saw a bunch of people running around, but the mechanics of the game felt somewhere between like Fable and Assassin's Creed, like the last 3 Assassin's Creeds, on how the combat went. If you're playing on the mouse, I was playing with mouse and keyboard. Your right click is your block, and then your left click is if you just press it once, is a short attack. If you hold it down, it's a charged attack. And then you can jump with spacebar, and left shift is to roll. And so like I didn't really have there's definitely timers on my abilities for my weapons, but I'm not like pressing 1 2 3 4 5 or holding down just a button whenever, like I was on Star Wars or even with Final Fantasy. I'm swinging the sword, doing the action like I would have been, as I mentioned, like on an Assassin's Creed. So to me, the level of play felt very similar to something I would dig, like Witcher, Assassin's Creed, one of those games. I'm very curious. So right now, I have a pre-order just to get access to that. I was like, if I don't like it, I just cancel my pre-order, and said I gave it a try. But right now, I'm considering keeping my pre-order open because I was digging what they were doing. So that's New World by Amazon, an MMO that's out on PC, currently on Steam. I don't think, Chase, that you would like it, but Johnny, I think that you would like this quite a bit.
Why would you say that to me?
Just because I know the types of
I'll
shit.
watch some stuff for it.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
I mean, it's magic. It's fantasy.
Yeah.
Stuff looks like it's my bread and butter.
Yeah, and that's it for me. Been busy with Chase doing some stuff that with recordings and getting things ready, and with Johnny being out, we've been having a party. But that's what I've been up to. So Monster Hunter Stories 2, PowerWash Simulator, Death's Door, and New World. Let's. Chase doesn't have an opportunity to play a lot of games right now, but maybe after the news, he might.
Yeah, you're right. I don't have any opportunities to play video games.
So there's a few stories here. Would you guys like to start with things that we can probably move through pretty quickly?
Let's get through the quick stuff.
Okay.
Sure.
So I added this one in here for me. I don't know if either one of you care at all, but so Nickelodeon announced they're making a Smash clone.
Yeah. And
that, as someone who grew up watching a ton of Nickelodeon cartoons, I don't know if you guys did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But this seems like a really fun idea to me, and I'm kind of surprised it hasn't happened sooner.
I mean, they've done kart racers before.
Yeah.
They haven't done.
But still, to have a Smash-like game with a lot of characters that I love, like still to this day, it's exciting to me. I don't remember if they gave a release date or anything. But it's gonna have characters from SpongeBob. There's
Yeah, I'm looking up. Here we go. Here is the so far. Here are all of the confirmed characters in Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. We have Helga from Hey Arnold.
Gross.
We have Danny Phantom from Danny Phantom. We have Sandy Cheeks from SpongeBob. We have Zim from Invader Zim. We have Nigel Thornberry from the Wild Thornberries. Michelangelo and Leonardo, and I imagine the other two from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. SpongeBob and Patrick from SpongeBob. Reptar from Rugrats. Oh, yeah. That's an inspired choice. What a great choice. Do you guys know who Lincoln Loud is? I never watched The Loud House. Is that a thing I should know about?
Jude's a big fan of that show. I think he's the main character. Lincoln
Loud and Lucy Loud from The Loud House. Oh, Belina from All Real Monsters. You gotta get Ickis before I'm on board. And the GOAT, Powdered Toast Man.
Oh yes.
I don't even like Ren and Stimpy, but I love Powdered Toast Man.
Yeah.
Hot damn. Good stuff.
Yeah.
So that's
I look forward to that.
I bet this will be bad. Cartoon Network made one of these as well. That had like Steven Universe and Mordecai and Rigby and some of those, and that's cool as well. But that game wasn't good. Of course, it wasn't good, and I can't imagine this one would be good either. But I do have a lot of nostalgia for these shows.
They'll get me on the nostalgia factor alone. Hey, you guys remember 8 years ago or however long it's been when Ubisoft announced that pirate game, Skull and Bones?
Sounds like a fake game to me.
Fake news.
Yeah. So there's a Kotaku article that came out yesterday that just talks about what a nightmare this game has been to work on. Because it was like, okay, yeah, this is like they announced it and it's supposed to come out, not that far into the future, and it looked cool because the naval combat of Assassin's Creed Black Flag was like the best part of that game. As far as I was concerned, it was, but okay. Anyway, they're gonna make a whole game out of that, and
should be easy. You just rip that out of the game, and that's the game.
And that has not happened. It's being developed by Ubisoft Singapore. And it sounds like maybe because of the contractual agreements they made with the city of Singapore, like they haven't been able to just pull the plug on it at this point. Like there are some employment agreements and like they have to put a game out in the next 2-3 years. So I have a feeling like this game will come out and just be kind of quietly swept under the rug, just to say that they published it.
Bummer, because that was something that had a lot of hype behind it when they announced it, and people were really excited.
All those years ago.
Something I heard recently was, Beyond Good and Evil 2 also is,
it's a game
off the radar. Like, where is it? Are we sure?
They said it exists.
Cinematic
trailer. They keep saying it exists, but I don't believe them anymore. And the thing that got brought up was that you had this was around the time of the Vivendi trying to do the hostile takeover, and so there was maybe a thought that if they announce these big games and make them seem bigger than they really are, maybe that helps to stave off a takeover like that. And now that there is no threat of a takeover, they don't really have to deliver on these things as much anymore. And maybe that's not the case with Skull and Bones. Maybe that's not even the case with Beyond Good and Evil 2. I don't know. But not having heard really anything for years on either of these games is just really
it's concerning, and it sucks for the developers. Like in the article, it talks about how the game has been like rebooted and soft refreshed, and like they just never been able to really nail down exactly what this game is going to be beyond the naval combat.
And I mean, to a lesser degree, you still had Riders Republic just got delayed to next year, I believe. It was supposed to come out in.
But they've sunk, a good chunk of change into this, and you have to wonder, like, at what point is it just pull the plug? And last smaller story here, which isn't that small of a story, but we'll just dwell on it here for a moment. Netflix getting in the game biz, and they've
kind of been in the game biz already. Like there was
to a degree.
Yeah, like they've been like a publisher of games before. Yeah, the Stranger Things 2 game, despite there being no Stranger Things 1 game, which just led to something very confusing.
Yeah, Johnny, are you familiar with this one? I put it on here. I don't mind taking a lead on that story if you want me to.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, like, this. If you go back to what like their CEO has said, like, this makes perfect sense because they don't view their competition as Hulu and HBO Max. They view their competition as Fortnite and all these games that are vying for people's attention. So it makes perfect sense that they would.
Right. It's what people are spending their time on. Yeah. Like there was a similar kind of comparison I heard at one point is that McDonald's doesn't. Maybe I've said it before. McDonald's doesn't view its competition as Burger King and Wendy's because it murders those people.
Right.
It views its competition as something like Subway or Chick-fil-A that is doing something very different from their business model, but is taking people's attention away from burgers and fries.
Totally.
And that is why you see them getting into chicken sandwiches and getting into healthier options. Because it's the same thing. We know we've dominated burgers and fries in the same way that Netflix doesn't care about Hulu, Coca-Cola doesn't care about Pepsi. They care about the things that somebody might use as an alternative to those things.
There's a lot of pieces here on the table that are interesting. So let's start with some data. Netflix this past year has in America has lost 400,000 accounts. But
crazy. Like you'd think it'd go up with COVID, that everybody's home.
You mentioned
more
this
time for Netflix.
I can't remember where you mentioned it, but you started talking about like people basically like moved away from cable, but now they have all these subscriptions and they're basically back to cable. And I think this last year, especially like Disney Plus just knocked out of the park. They had new Marvel shows. They had everything with Star Wars. Their value, like you can get ESPN, Nat Geo, and all the Star Wars, Marvel, Disney shit for the same amount that Netflix family cost. So I think that definitely
I mean it's a value play, but also I think they've done a great job of cultivating excitement in a way that Netflix doesn't do. Like you'll get an occasional I get an occasional email from Netflix going, "Hey, this is what's new on Netflix this week," and it's like 2 things, and I don't care about either of them. But even though the things I don't care about on Disney Plus, they are just bigger deals. Right. It's here's Loki. Loki's going to be new for the next so many weeks. And now when Loki's done, now we're switching right off to Star Wars: The Bad Batch. Actually, those both are playing at the same time, but the point stands. It seems like they always have another thing to get hyped about.
Yep.
And whereas Netflix just doesn't.
They just dropped a new Pixar movie that was quite good. Luca.
Yeah.
I watched that and enjoyed it. So I mean, they're like always pumping out that content.
Even though the numbers went down in America, their numbers are growing in a market that probably matters a bit more, which is China. And I think it makes a lot of sense. So there was some rumors circulating a few days ago that Netflix was looking to add games, not publishing, but add like a game service to in conjunction with their streaming service that you know and love right now. And that was confirmed by Netflix a few days after that leaked. And they said, hey, yeah, we're doing this, and we're going to focus on mobile games. They're going to be free if you have a Netflix account. And I think, like, looking at their audience in China, like, there's a big demand for mobile gaming there. And we talked about this a couple deep dives back, probably about half a year ago, when I was talking about the people that were going to be entering the play for game streaming, cloud gaming, and all those things. Like, Netflix was not one that we talked about, but based off what you've already said, this makes a lot of sense. Here's where it gets a bit more interesting. There's some data mining happening and some internal components for Netflix where people were able to uncover, because there's a shark fin that they're using for their test logo or test name for this service. And all of the stuff in conjunction with that they found had like graphics for the DualSense controller, and there was Ghost of Tsushima stuff associated with it. And people are speculating, because there's also a partnership for publishing for Sony and for Netflix for movies, that potentially PlayStation, the Sony brand PlayStation or Sony or whatever, like bigger than just their publishing, that this might be the tool that they use for like a Game Pass bundle type scenario, where like PlayStation Now or even more of a cloud offering from PlayStation will be packaged with Netflix, because right now you've got Luna and Prime, you've got at Microsoft kind of doing their own shit where they don't need that because their cloud infrastructure is being used by these other ones. But to what Johnny was saying and what you were saying with, like, they don't even look at Hulu as a competition, they're looking at Fortnite and these other things. Well, Amazon's in a very similar spot. That's why they're going beyond just books and all this other shit. But they have, like, you can subscribe to Luna and have your Prime account and all that shit. Well, hey, if your kids want to play games or have games included on your Netflix plan, like, we got you covered. Oh, you like Sony's? Here, boom, take it. So that hasn't been confirmed yet. There's definitely stuff baked into, like, some chain log stuff that's been poked around at. But this one we've talked a lot more about than we probably anticipated. But there's some pretty interesting things happening around people making games, and Netflix did confirm some stuff.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Like, it's gonna
eventually a big deal. It's not a big deal yet.
Yeah, it will eventually be a big deal. Speaking of big deals, y'all remember that 4K Switch that was supposed to be announced at E3 and then wasn't?
Yeah, the Switch Pro. How'd that go?
Valve made it.
Yeah, Valve. It's okay. So we did not get a Switch Pro. We got a Switch OLED model, which does not have a faster chip inside of it.
No.
It does
It's got
not
slightly
have
better audio. It's got a wide
kickstand for multiple viewing angles.
Oh yeah.
It has the same Joy-Cons that we know and love.
They're white, Johnny. They're white Joy-Cons. They're clean looking Joy-Cons.
They have the same parts that are prone to failure, and
That's
Nintendo
true.
has been sued and has replaced 3 of mine.
So
two or 3.
I've
had multiple Joy-Cons replaced.
I was pretty bummed by the news on this because I think we all had concocted a Switch Pro in our mind.
There was credible reporting from multiple outlets, people that we trust.
Which still could be true.
That's what I was going to say.
The existence of this does not preclude them from doing something
Absolutely
else
not.
next year or the year
next
after.
year, maybe alongside Breath of the Wild 2, or just holiday next year.
Things are fucked right now. From a, I mean, it would be so Nintendo. Like there was after this came out, there was some things that like around profit sharing for Nintendo that people were up in arms about. Like, well, Nintendo's only have to spend $10 more on this stuff for the Switch with the OLED, and they're still charging $50 more, which, you know, that's that's capitalism, you know, like you can do that shit. But at the end of the day, it's
interesting because Nintendo actually, you know, who's a very quiet company that doesn't usually comment on any of this shit.
Yeah, actually, like, no.
It's like, no, seriously, we're not making any more on this. Like, we know the reputation that we have, but that is not what we're doing here.
Sure.
There's so much negotiation that like a company like Nintendo can leverage when it comes to like supply chain stuff. Mm-hmm. But with the supply chain being what it is right now, nobody really has that power. And I just have to assume that a lot of if everything on the inside of the Switch is the same and all that's happening, like they don't have to upgrade anything and they don't have to reallocate parts that they don't have access to right now. And they could have probably done it because they're Nintendo, but all those people that are dealing with, you know, this shit, whatever it may be, would be able to look at Nintendo and say, yeah, well, hey, we've got the power this time, so we're going to charge a bit more for it. And Nintendo probably would have been stuck in a situation where they're 4 years later, they've got the supply chain they need right now for the Switches. They're still making them fine. They can put these displays into it.
And they're still selling just fine.
100%.
Yeah, I know.
Console.
Right. I know Bobby bitches about the underpowered Switch, but a lot of people aren't. Or even if they are, they're still playing their Switches.
Right.
Like those, they're still hard to find on a shelf.
I mean, Monster Hunter Stories is a great example. I have a PC that would have ran that beautifully, but there was something compelling about, and the reason I have the progress in the game that I have right now is that I've been taking it with me, and that was more important. And you know, we'll talk about that here in a minute, but.
Yeah, what if there was some device that was like
Bobby,
a PC, but you could take it with you?
What if I told you?
The timing, I mean, shit. The timing of this is comical, right?
Yeah. So that happened. People were disappointed, some more than others. But you know what? They haven't had any trouble selling out those pre-orders, have they?
No.
Not at all. So
I did grab a pre-order, by the way.
I know you did.
Of the
Switch.
OLED?
Yeah.
You're so.
I don't have like a full. So I let you both know that I have been concerned with my Switch has been struggling lately.
You're the easiest mark in the world.
He really is.
He's
like,
new
hardware for something I still don't like. I won't even use the OLED part. Yeah, sign me up. Let's do it.
But if my Switch is going to shit the bed, which I'm very fearful of. If my Switch is going to shit the bed, like Johnny's point, these things are fucking sold out everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm going to buy a Switch, if I have to replace my Switch because I'm going to be playing Switch games, I'm going to get the newest one. But
I totally get it, and is I think that is the best use case of this is for non-Switch owners.
Right.
If you don't own a Switch, this OLED one seems pretty great. It seems awesome. For somebody like me who has a Switch that I'm still pretty damn happy with. And 2 is mostly playing on the TV. The OLED screen does nothing for me because I already put it on a big screen TV anyway. So with a kickstand, slightly better audio, and
I can count on one hand, and that's one time I have ever played my Switch in tabletop mode.
But what if somebody out there, what if a Lord and Savior heard our cries at night and said, "You know what, my children,"
like a bearded man with a bearded
man who loves knives and also lives in New Zealand.
Yes. What if that person heard us?
This isn't Peter Jackson.
Oh.
Yeah, so the timing in this couldn't have been more perfect. So Gabe Newell comes out and throws his dick on the table. And the thing yeah.
I know what the podcast art's going to be this week.
So Valve announced the Steam Deck. Now, there had been rumors about a so-called Steam Pal that was going to be coming out or being announced, and they got it right, except for the name, basically. The Steam Deck it's a portable PC. It has hardware inside of it that is being compared to like a launch PS4, which is, not the most powerful thing in the world by any means, but still to have that in a handheld form, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, especially because it's not... You need that more impressive tech when it comes to displaying on a large TV, but when you're displaying it on a smaller 7-inch, like they've got...
Yep. 7-inch 12 by 10 aspect ratio, which I think is kind of interesting.
This thing can do 4K 120 when docked. I mean, that's pretty damn impressive.
And keyword there. But yeah, like it's going to have its own dock.
It's sold separately.
Any USB-C dock will work though, which is cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So like I have a StarTech one for work that I use. I could plug this thing into it and use that to hook it up to my TV. You can wipe the Linux-based SteamOS on there and replace it with Windows if you want. But
I did
out of the box.
A really cool thing on that too. Sorry, just to interject, the OS that it's running, like the Steam OS, I think that's what they're calling it. They did confirm today that will be replacing Big Picture mode for Steam Desktop.
Yep.
And so that variation that'll run this OS and that now on your desktop.
Yeah. And they're showing off games like Jedi Fallen Order, Doom Eternal, Control, like just to like emphasize like, hey, this thing can play these locally. You're not going to be streaming these games. It has 3 price points: $399, $529, $649. The base one comes with 64 gigs of storage, which is laughable.
But it also has an SD card.
Yeah. It has an SD card. Yes, it has expandable storage. Yes,
and it's a eMMC storage.
Yeah, it's eMMC, and then the top 2 tiers have NVMe storage with 256 and 512 respectively.
And that's just a little faster. I think they're all solid state drives in a way.
Yes, it's just NVMe is going to be able to read write faster than that base 64 gigs. Is your Steam library anywhere. They on the page for this product here, a not so subtle dig at Nintendo, like with a joystick, moving around. So.
My big questions for this, like these all came out, pre-orders went up. You had to reserve a pre-order with $5, which
crashed Steam.
Crash Steam, but also unlike something like the Analog Pocket or trying to get your sneakers or whatever, these pre-orders just stayed up. Hey, we're going to make a lot of these. It's just which batch are you going to be a part of? Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
They're going to do something similar, which I think is really nice too.
Right. The first batch, that'll be probably really competitive, but eventually you'll be able to get your play dates. So I think that's cool. We all grab pre-orders, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
So I think we're all in different quarters of when
Q2.
when we might get ours.
Q1
of next year.
I might be Q2 next year as well.
Which one did you guys go for?
The
529.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, I think that's the nice one.
My questions here. One, I want to see how this actually performs. I know there have been some videos out there. IGN had a hands-on, but I want to see actual people get their hands on this, get a breakdown, get a Digital Foundry thing, see how some games run in comparison to other games on other platforms. That'll be a big deal. The other thing I really want to know is how those touchpad mouse things feel.
Yeah.
Because we've had Valve technology in the past.
Yep.
When you think about something like the Steam controller that tried to mimic the way a
mouse
mouse
one of those
works.
controllers.
How did it feel?
I used it exactly once, and it was fine. But I feel like using it to play the types of games that they're saying you could play with it would make more sense. Because I was trying to use it, like, I don't know. Like, I feel better about how they're describing it on this thing, being it's all handheld rather than having this touchpad I'm holding in my lap.
Right. It's different to use that as a mouse or as a mouse cursor for something like Civ than it is for something like Doom Eternal. Like, that's what the right stick is for. If you want to play Doom Eternal, you can just play it.
If you want to play mouse and keyboard, you can hook a mouse and keyboard up to this.
That's true. You could also do that.
One of the things that we talked about offline, Chase and Johnny, I don't think that you and I have talked about this yet, and it just kind of occurred to me when I was looking at what you could actually do with this. Like, after watching that IGN video, they're like, we don't care what you put on it. It's a computer first. Install what you want. And putting Windows on this, I immediately thought, this device is going to be the absolute perfect way to play anything that's on xCloud. Anything on Game Pass, like, this is a perfect device for that. And
that's probably my biggest
emulation. Like,
well.
it's really cool. It's a really cool device. Like, I know that there are other handheld PCs out there that you can buy, but to have one that is tied to the most popular, like, digital storefront for games, like, it's neat. It's a really cool, neat thing that I don't need, but I will probably end up purchasing.
Guys, you're going to be able to play Super Robot Wars 30th on this.
It's really so exciting. Close to being. Look, the last year we've been begging Chase to join us on the PC side of things, and even as we've progressed our show to what you know it to be today, there's been some behind the scenes fucking tech nightmares that we've had to overcome to try and make things work. And not that this device would do that, but we've talked.
But it also solves the problems that I have with PCs. Like, the reason I don't have a PC is not because I'm just a stubborn asshole. That's a part of it, I'm sure. But a lot of it is I just don't feel like my apartment setup has a place to put a PC, put a desktop. I don't want to hook it up to my TV because then it's just a game console. I want to be able to use it as a PC. But for something like this, that's basically just a Switch. I've got a Switch. I know how a Switch works on my TV. I can use that as a Switch. I can use its PC function kind of when I need to, and I probably won't end up using this that much as a PC itself. But also, the price is so much less than what a big hulking desktop PC and the graphics cards and all the stuff that I'd want to get out of it. There is definitely a place for this for me, especially as a person who doesn't want to buy another Xbox again, doesn't want to get an Xbox Series S or Series X, but wants to play Forza, wants to play Halo, and this would be a way for me to do that.
You just put the Game Pass app on here, download them locally, and have it.
Exactly. So I'll be interested to see how those games run on this. I'd be interested to see how other stuff runs. Like, would Bobby and I be able to parsec with this?
Right.
To how effective would that be? Would we be able to do more stuff with quick looks because I'd have that capability? Because for some reason, parsec does not allow me to share my MacBook screen.
Yep.
I can get Bobby's PC shared to my MacBook screen, but I cannot share my screen with Bobby. Fucking crazy.
There's so like, I know we're gonna wrap up here, but like in my head, I've already put the work together that I could install Windows on that, and I could hook up a dock that had mouse, keyboard, microphone to it, and one of the USB ports, I could run my Genki setup and legitimately have two on-the-go devices hooked up to each other and be recording and capturing and streaming. Like, I could literally have this be a streaming PC for me if I wanted to take the load off my computer and just game. Like, that's a wild thing to think about.
That is very.
Like,
what I'll probably do, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this pre-order or not. I'm leaning towards keeping it though. I'll probably just end up handing it to one of you guys and saying, "Hey, fix this for me. Make it the way I need it." And then I'll just take it.
Just bring it to the BJ Emporium. We'll fix it for you.
Yeah, putting emulators on it or something.
Yeah.
Johnny mentioned emulators, and I'm like, ooh, emulators.
Yeah. This is really exciting. I'm very, very. This
is probably a better tool for you to hand to your son to play those PC games while you're on your PC, and you can play together. You're also like
next year, if there is a newborn in the picture, as may be the case, we'll see. Like, this would be perfect. Like if there's scenario I need to stay with the kid, I can play my games while I'm hanging out with a theoretical baby that may or may not be born next year.
Those are my favorite kinds, the theoretical babies.
Exactly. Schrodinger's baby.
So yeah, Steam Deck seems to be pretty cool. Apparently, it's very popular. People are very excited. $5 is pretty low stakes.
The Switch Pro that we deserve.
Yeah.
No analog pocket though.
Can't wait for that. Oh.
Well.
There is going to be a time in my life where I'll pack a Playdate, an analog pocket, a Switch, and a Steam Deck.
Hey, what a time to be a gamer on the go.
It'd be nuts. And a Vita. Well, fuck it. Why not?
Why not? Johnny, thanks for taking us to the news. Let's wrap up our show and get you to bed, you tired baby.
Yeah, I kind of want to.
So
you need more Pokemon Unite.
We'll be brief here. We've talked a lot about our quick looks. We've got a few of those popping around. If you want to follow with what we got going on, head over to our chat. Better Johnny's on the scene. We stream Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10:30 p.m. Central at twitch.tv/thecasualhour. If you can't tune in and you'd rather listen to us, go to where you can find a podcast. We post them new Fridays at 9 a.m. Central, where podcasts can be found. We also host this thing over on Anchor. You can find all of the goodies there. Links in chat if you're watching, whether it be live or video on demand. And then if you follow that first link there to our streamerlinks.com/casualhour, that takes you to all of our social networking, including our YouTube page, where you can give us a like and subscribe to stay in the know for the quick looks that we put out, usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays. This past Tuesday, we put out that PowerWash Sim that we all like quite a bit here. Go check that out. Tomorrow morning, or right now, if you're watching live, you can still go check out Chase taking me through a quick look for mini Motorways, which is a great time. And then Friday night, I will be back, potentially solo, washing away my blues with PowerWash Sim live here on twitch.tv/casualhour. And if you don't have enough there and you still need more, there's a better place to go with an exciting update this week. Chase, why don't you tell us what's going on?
I run a different podcast called Gamers on the Go that I do every once in a while, and this is the while. This is it. Bobby and I can finally say we did it. We recorded the podcast. It's a podcast on Pokemon X and Y.
Oh yeah.
So I'm in the process of editing that. That'll go up probably sometime next week, and so it's exciting. There's going to be a new episode of Gamers on the Go. We finished it. We did it.
Did it.
And now I can play anything else, which I'm very excited to do. But that was fun to record. You can find that at gamersonthego.com or at GOTG Podcast on Twitter. I also have been playing games, or a game specifically, on my personal YouTube channel, which is ChaseK Plays. You can follow that on Twitter at ChaseK Plays, and then search for ChaseK Plays on YouTube, and you can probably find it. I've been playing Super Robot Wars X. There's a new episode that would have just gone up as you're listening to this now, and you can watch that. I'm still deep in the middle of that game, and I'm having a real good time playing it.
Good. That's what we like to hear. Johnny.
Yes.
Since you're not playing Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin for yourself, are you playing anything with your son?
We just, with me being gone and then on vacation.
What did he play on the plane? What did he do?
We drove.
Oh, drove. Fine. What did he do on the drive?
I mean, he played games on his iPad.
What games?
Probably played Roblox, Minecraft. The usual garbage.
Can you do like an offline Roblox?
He was tethered to the hotspot on my phone. He burned through 15 gigs of data.
Hell yeah.
A matter of days. But you know what? It kept him quiet. It kept the rides peaceful. So, worth it?
Worth it. Cool. Well, that will do our show for us tonight here. Chase, Johnny, thank you. Johnny, welcome back. As we mentioned, tune in Friday night here on Twitch for some sweet, good, clean fun. And we'll be back on Monday for part 2.5 of XCOM Mondays on Casual Mondays with Bobby and Chase. Appreciate you all. Take care. See you in chat.
Later.